All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to write equations when we're not necessarily given the zeros, but we have a graph. Now, fortunately, you are very smart, and you remember that, hey, dude, we basically do have the zeros, and the reason we have the zeros is because if you look at the graph, where it crosses your x-axis, and that's this right here, this is our x-axis, right? That's our x. Where it crosses are your zeros, right? Where it crosses, the x-intercepts are a zero. So right here is a zero, right here is a zero, and right here is a zero. And all we got to do is write those down, and then we can go from there. So let's, this one right here, we got 0, so it goes -1, -2, -3, -4. So we've got one that is -4. We've got another one where x is equal to 1. And then our last one is x equals 3. So really, all we got to do with this is just go, okay, that's cool. If it's a -4, that means I'm going to be adding it. So the x plus 4, right? Kind of the opposite of what it looks like. If it's 1, we're going to be subtracting it, so it'll be x minus 1. And then it's positive 3, which means it will be x minus 3. And then all we're going to do is say f of x. And then sometimes you may or may not sometimes see people write it like this as well. Okay, and it's kind of the same thing, right? Now remember, f of x is basically the same thing as y, right? It's just saying a function of x. Well, that value is your y value, right? Because that's what this axis is, right? So I think just understand that those are interchangeable. All right, so now let's look at our last example here, right, of doing this. Well, it's not our last example, second to last. And so here are my zeros, right, where this thing crosses. And on this one, we cross in 4 different locations, okay? So we've got x equals, and I'm not going to write x equals every time. I'm just going to put them all together. We've got -5. We've got, it looks like it's between 2 and, or -2 and -3. So we could call that, I'm going to just call that -2.5 for now. All right, and we'll discuss how we're going to handle that in a second. And then we got between 0 and 1. So it's that's 1/2, right? And now you notice I'm purposely writing these as fractions and not as decimals. I know you guys hate fractions, but we gotta come to an uneasy piece with them. And then the last one we got 2. All right, and so my factors would be x plus 5. All right, that's one of them. And then we would have x plus 2.5. All right, and obviously we know that's not cool, but we're just writing that. All right, and we have x minus 1/2, which also isn't copacetic. That's not how we like things to be. So we got to rewrite this one and this one. Okay, well, this one's pretty straightforward, right? We've done this now. So we've got x minus 1/2. We're going to multiply it by 2 because that's what this is, right? So we go 2 times x, which is 2x, and then 2 times 1/2 is just 1. It's minus 1. Choose cancel, right? So this one's good. Now, before I can do this one, I'm going to write this as an improper fraction, all right? So 2.5, so you go 2 times 2, right? Because you have 2 whole groups. Remember, a whole group with 2's is 2 over 2, right? That equals 1. So I've got 2 of those. So basically, it's like saying this, right? Well, you have 4 halves, right? And then, so you got 4, and then you have 1 more half. So 4 plus 1, so you have 5 halves, right? So x plus 5 halves. And this is just basic fraction operations, right? Which a lot of us do not like. And now when we multiply this to clean it up, we're going to multiply again by 2 because that's what my denominator is on my fraction. All right, so 2 times x gives me 2x, and then 2 times 5 halves. You choose cancel, and you get plus 5. All right, and so these are all my factors now. Now I've got, I'm going to say f of x is equal to x plus 5. I'm just going down the line here. And then 2x plus 5. All right, and then 2x minus 1, and then x minus 2. and this would be of degree 4, okay, our equation of it, which, and then you can see both of the M behaviors, they both go up. So this thing basically opens upward for the most part. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Once you kind of understand the concept of how to go from the zeros to the factors, doing it like this is actually just as easy as the other way. So it's just a matter of making that connection. Okay, so there will be one more video where we are going to talk about double roots in a particularly tricky looking one. All right, so we'll see you there.